Hello and welcome. I'm Monique Amy. I'm an illustrator based in Boston with a deep love of the fiber arts, and that's what we're going to talk about today. This is a pretty standard knitting podcast. I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing, whips, finished objects, other way around, finished objects, whips, acquisitions, and then I like to share thrift scores, so things I've thrifted since we've last chatted, and then books I've read, if you want to talk about books together. That's what we're in for today, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so what I'm wearing, this is the Sailor Swift top by Veronica Lindbergh, also known as Kudavakika. This is actually my second time knitting this. The first time, I have chatted about this before on this channel, but it was a bit too fitted, too tight. It's meant to have negative ease. It's actually meant to have 4 inches of negative ease. Either mine was more negative ease than that, or I just don't like the feeling of negative ease in the summer. Can you blame me? My previous version was with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. I decided to knit it again. I got this yarn from Make and Mend, which is my local secondhand art supply store. I love checking them out. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm on my walks, is to just, see if they have anything for me. And one day they did. So this is Sandisgarn Mandarin Petite, which is like a fingering weight 100% cotton yarn. And Sandisgarn is, I have knit with their yarns before. It's a yarn I hear about all the time, and I know I can purchase it online. I try to not purchase yarn online, but it's not very accessible for me in person. Like, I just don't see it in stores. So I was so excited to see this at the secondhand art supply store. That was wild. There wasn't enough balls of yarn for like a solid tank top. So that's why I got the 2 different colors. I got white and then this kind of like lime, yellow, green tennis ball color, perhaps. My gauge is almost always small. I think I must be a tight knitter, and that's fine. I just usually knit a size larger than I actually am. I'm usually medium. I knit a size large at least. I might have even done XL. I kind of forget. My Ravelry notes say large. I don't fully believe that. I feel like I might have gone even larger, but who knows? Maybe I did. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know if you can see, but I like the length. It's like not too cropped, but it kind of hits my waist nicely. I do think the straps are a bit too wide, and they do get wider the larger the size. So I think maybe I should have not done that wider and kind of modified. I didn't really modify the pattern at all. So I just knit a size larger. And then I also feel like I have a little bit too much fabric by the armpit here. Not underneath, but just like right here. It's a little bit wide. Again, because it's a me problem, not a pattern problem. It's because I knit off gauge. And then I also feel like the neckline is not perfectly round. It feels square on me, like a rounded square. Again, it's fine. I'm just nitpicking the details of this. It wears fine. I do have positive ease, which is what I was going for. I did not want any negative ease. Yeah, I do think I knit an XL because I started knitting this as a size large and I tried it on and it was too tight again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did an XL actually because I frogged this project, started again a size up. But yeah, I'm happy I did knit this again. This is definitely more wearable than my original version, so I'm pleased. The other thing I'm wearing that is new since my last knitting podcast episode is I got a new tattoo, and it is a fiber art related tattoo, which is why I'm even talking about it. I have a little sheep, little lamb in a flower, and it is so sweet. I had been following this artist for a long time, Arena Pearl, and her work is stunning. I'm obsessed with her tattoos. They feel very me. Yeah, I went to Poughkeepsie, New York to get this done. I will travel to get a tattoo if there's an artist I really want a tattoo by. And it was such a lovely experience. Yeah, very comfortable, welcoming tattoo experience, which is what you want. And it actually was a cover up. So I have a smaller tattoo over here, and then I had another small one on my forearm. Both of them did not heal well. I got them years ago. They didn't heal well pretty much immediately, which was a bummer. So yeah, I figured I might as well get this one covered up because I really didn't like that one. Very happy with the results. She also touched up my other tattoo and now I am much happier with it. So it was a great experience and I would absolutely go back. But I don't get tattoos that often. It's like every couple years maybe. So I'm good for now. Now I have this sweet, sweet little lamb. Okay, so for finished objects, like we already talked about, we've got the Sailor Swift top. The other finished object, oh yeah, I only have 2 knitting finished objects. So the other one is this self-drafted pillow. This came out of my brain. So how this came to be, basically Kelburn Woolens reached out in general on their like affiliate email, basically looking for creators who wanted to use a new yarn that they're stocking to make projects. Something along those lines. I am an affiliate with Kelburn Woolens. I will have that linked below if you're interested. I reached out and I was like, yes, I am interested in doing that. This is what I came up with. It did not have to be self-drafted. I decided to do that. So the yarn is Kremke the Merry Merino 70, which is an Aran 100% merino. Kremke is a new line of yarn that Kelburn Woolens is carrying now. So it was kind of to promote this new yarn. And this was gifted, if I'm not clear. This was gifted. The colors are 6 and 21. I think the brown is coffee. I think that's the name of it. I don't know the name of the blue and I don't know which number is which, but 6 and 21 if you want to look it up. So this was the first time I self-drafted and also the first time I did intarsia. I did take an intarsia class with Deegan at the Knit Club in Providence, Rhode Island. So I learned how to do intarsia then and I thought it was so cool, but then I didn't make anything after that, and that was years ago. I was excited to finally do intarsia. I think doing stripes is intarsia on easy mode, although this is 8 strands of intarsia, so that was tricky, but it's just straight lines, so it's not that crazy. I do have a dedicated project video on YouTube for this. So if you want to see the process, you can check out that video. And then I also have all my project notes on Ravelry. And then of course, if you have questions, you can ask me down below. To kind of run through the construction real quick, I knit the first panel, this front panel here. Oh yeah, also I had this pillow already in my apartment with like a different cover on it. So I just took the cover off. I didn't care for the cover and I just took the insert and built this around the measurements of the pillow in here, which is about 20 by 20 inches. Those are the measurements I was working with. Once I figured out my gauge, I kind of was able to figure out how many stitches wide I needed it to be, although I had some hiccups. So again, if you want to see the process, it's in my vlog. So I knit the front panel intarsia stripes. I wanted it to be vertical. That's why I did intarsia. I wanted the stitches to be vertical. This yarn comes in 50-gram balls, so I treated each one of those 50-gram balls as a bobbin for intarsia, so I didn't have to wind up any bobbins. Like the ball of yarn was the bobbin. That made it much more manageable. Figured out how many stitches across. I just knit until it felt like the right length, and then I cast off. So I essentially had a square of fabric. Then on this side, I guess I kind of worked this way. Then on this side, I picked up stitches on this panel. So I picked up stitches and then again with intarsia, I just knit down while picking up stitches on the sides. So I was starting to form a pillow at that point. And you can see I did alternate the stripes. I just thought that would be fun to do that. So then I knit down and cast off when I was, 3/4 of the way down. Then I did the same thing. I picked up stitches and knit down while also picking up on the sides. This time I did not do intarsia. I just did regular stripes because I wanted the stripes to go the other way. So that was kind of refreshing to not have all the bobbins of yarn to deal with. And then I made sure to overlap by, I think, at least 2 inches with this bottom panel. So yeah, it does overlap about 2 inches. You can see it doesn't stay very well, but we'll get into that. And then I cast off, and then I added this I-cord edge over here and then around the entire pillow, like an applied I-cord edge. That was it. That's the construction. I found the process really fun. I really like how the I-cord edge like really makes the pillow look quite finished. In the corners, I did do the I-cord like a few times into the same stitch so that you get like some nice corners. I found that just from looking up tutorials on applied I-cord edges. I'm really happy with how this came out. The yarn is super soft. This is like a very soft pillow. As you can see, it does tend to do this. So not ideal. I didn't block this. I kind of didn't have enough time to do that, and I just don't feel like it, you know? But I had a lot of good comments on my project vlog video, which I'm very thankful for, that I could still add like buttons. I could add more I-cord loops and like add buttons that way. So I might revisit this at some point. It's the back, so I don't really care too much. There were some really good suggestions that I will take into account. If you think there's anything else I should do, just let me know. That's that. I'm really pleased with how this came out, and it gave me a lot of confidence in self-drafting. I think also it was easier to do than, you know, a garment. Like I was fitting this to a pillow. That is very different than a body. It was a good first self-drafted and intarsia project. Whew, I feel like this might end up being a very long podcast. I knew it was time to record. I was like, oh, I've got a lot of things to talk about. We are going to get into sewing really quick, and I am mostly just going to share. I don't even have the projects with me. I'm just going to share video so you can see them on me, because that makes more sense. So actually, I'm going to hold my laptop. Okay, so the first sewing project that I finished was the Poppy Top by Summer House, and the fabric was a thrifted bed sheet that has like a really nice grid texture. It's kind of like a charcoal navy blue, maybe more charcoal. It's kind of neutral. This is a very beginner friendly pattern. It was recommended to me by friends when I was asking for tank top patterns. The detail I really like about, well, there's a couple details I really like about this pattern, but basically it is kind of like a boxy Positive Ease tank top, but the sides overlap, so it's very breezy. Basically the sides, so you have a front panel and back panel, and then they overlap on the sides, but they're only connected right underneath the armpit, and then otherwise it kind of just opens on the side, and it feels very nice. So yeah, I just thought that was a really cool detail. It just fits really well. And the other thing I really loved about this pattern is it is fully finished with French seams. Like that is how the pattern is written. So I don't have a serger, and previously I was doing zigzag stitch, but I hate doing zigzag stitch finishes. I just think they look messy, they feel messy, and I don't think they hold up as well as other finishes, you know? So I have been considering getting a serger, but doing French seams kind of unlocked something for me. And yeah, basically this pattern sort of kicked off a sewing frenzy for me because I just was so happy with how this tank top came out. I don't think I had too many issues when I was sewing it. I think it was like very satisfying and fast to sew. So that gave me a lot of courage as well, motivation perhaps. These next few projects are all in my last video. I made a sewing for vacation vlog, so if you want to see more of that process, you can check out that video. Okay, so I also did the Studio Craft Tee by Matchy Matchy Sewing, and this is a free pattern. I used the linen fabric from Matchy Matchy Sewing that I had purchased ages ago. I think that's how it goes. You'd like hoard fabric and then finally figure out what to do with it. That's what I'm finding out from my sewing journey. So yeah, this is basically a boxy long sleeve shirt, and it's an excellent opportunity to play with sort of fabric color blocking or like mismatched fabric, which is what I did. Although, I mean, mine wasn't super mismatched, but I changed the orientation of the stripes and I love how that came out. I did modify the pattern to have French seams, which now that I know how to do it is so easy to do. And I will continue to do that moving forward. I really love how this came out. I definitely want to sew another one. I just need to figure out the fabric. I've been trying to go through my fabric to figure out what I want to do next, because I do think I will want to do a more dramatic color block. I haven't found the right combo yet, but it'll happen. Another sewing project I finished were the Lane shorts by Sydney Graham. These are actually the Lane pants that have been modified to be the Lane shorts. I've made these before. They're my go-to shorts pattern. I also modified them to be extra short on me. I am short, so I like them short. And yeah, I basically have the pattern nailed down, so I just like to go back to it over and over. So I did 2 of these. I did one pair to match the Studio Craft tee with the alternating stripes. And then I also did a pair to match the poppy top out of that grid fabric. And I was able to just barely squeeze out these shorts in that fabric because that was out of a bed sheet. In total, that bed sheet, I was able to make the poppy top, Lane shorts, and then I also have the bob pants. So I have 3 garments out of that, which I think is pretty good. Yeah, these were pretty straightforward. Really happy with them. Again, it's my go-to shorts pattern, so I'm just for sure gonna keep making this over and over. Sydney Graham does have the Avenue shorts coming out soon, and I am really looking forward to that. Specifically, I want to do the stripe, like sporty side stripe version. Rick Rack. I've been collecting Rick Rack. That's what I want to do on the side of my Avenue shorts eventually. Okay, moving along, one more finished sewn garment, and that is the Rama top by Daughter Judy. This is a very deep V-neck tank top, maybe even like a tunic if you do a longer version with side slits. I did modify the version I sewed to be a little bit shorter. I wanted it to be more tank top, less tunic. Either looks great, I think. Fabric I used was from Make and Mend, so again, secondhand art supply store. When I got the fabric, I thought it was a cotton, but after working with it, I think it's probably actually polyester or something synthetic, which is fine. This is the only pattern that didn't go quite as smoothly, and it has nothing to do with the pattern. It just, I think, has to do with my sewing skills. Like, it just got, the arm openings got a little wonky and like slightly wrinkly. Not enough for me to go back and fix, unfortunately. Or maybe I will if I get better at sewing, but for now it's good enough. And I think because it's a dark fabric, you can't really tell that there's like some bunching happening. So I'm just gonna let it be. I would like to sew this pattern again, definitely in a natural fiber, ideally like a cotton or something breathable and drapey. Maybe not too drapey, but breathable. And then I'm also thinking if it has a little bit more stretch and give, maybe I won't run into the bunching issue I had. That's what I think, but I could be wrong. That's my guess. Okay, those are all my finished objects, so let's get into whips. Oh, it's humid in here. I feel like as this podcast moves along, you're just gonna see my hair get bigger and bigger from the humidity. Okay, whips. I only have 2 whips, and it's just knitting projects. I don't have any sewing right now. This is my project bag. This is the Clover tee by Knit. I actually don't think I've knit a Knit pattern before, but I'm very well aware of this designer, so that's interesting. I'm knitting this with Wool and the Gang, the one cotton in just white. Here it is. I grabbed 4 balls of this, and it is 100 grams, is 186 yards or 170 meters, and I think 4 should be enough, hopefully. I did buy it from my local yarn store, Gather Here, so I suppose I could just go back and hopefully, if I need more, it's still there. This is a circular yoke with clover lace details, and then otherwise it's just like a basic stockinette t-shirt. My gauge, of course, was small. This is an ongoing trend. I am knitting a size large instead of a medium to make up for that. I've really enjoyed knitting this so far. I really, really loved doing the circular lace yoke. Unfortunately, that part is done now. Now I'm just doing stockinette in the round, which has its place, you know. It's good for watching TV or hanging out with friends and chatting and aimlessly knitting. I think I like slightly more engaging knitting, like the lace work, so I'm sad that part's over, but it's okay because I have plans. So yeah, all I have to do for this is finish the body, and then I need to pick up the sleeves and knit that, but it shouldn't take me too much longer to finish this, which I'm really excited about because this is definitely a project I'm really excited to wear. You know, white is risky for me, that's for sure. I think I will wear this a lot. I do already plan to knit this again. Basically, my mom saw me knitting this and she thought it was super cute and wanted one as well. Or I offered to knit her one. I already got the yarn for it, actually. A little peek at the acquisitions. I found this yarn, well, actually, I'll save it for acquisitions, but basically, I have this color in 100% cotton that I plan to knit for my mom. The only thing I'm waiting on is I kind of want to see how the sizing goes for me. I have yet to try this on since I separated the arms from the body. I should try this on pretty soon to make sure it fits. I think it will. It's looking good. But yeah, I want to see how this fits, and then if I need to make any adjustments or knit a different size for my mom, depending how this goes. We're not too different in size, but I might need to knit a different one. We'll see. So that's that one. My other whip is more unhinged, that's for sure. Pretty much all the knitting I've done recently has been new yarn. Like this, I mean, it's thrifted yarn, but I did buy it, I think, in the spring. This was gifted, got recently. This Wool and the Gang yarn I just bought. I am feeling like I am just getting yarn and I'm not going through my stash, which is not good. We can't be doing that. I went through my stash, and basically for kind of summer fibers, what I do have is I have some Knitting for Olive pure silk in cream, and then I have Knitting for Olive cotton merino in red currant. So I have 2 full balls, and then I do have some little scraps. This and this, little scraps. So for either color, I don't think I have enough to do one tank top or one garment. So I figured I could do stripes, and then I started trying to research on Ravelry what my options could be. These are both fingering, maybe light fingering weight yarn. I originally found the Nicola top by Alexandra, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say this right, Solowianiuk. I'm sorry. The Nicola top. It's basically a tank top with stripes and eyelets. It's very similar, actually, I think, to the Ingrid top by Gregoria Fibers, which is a pattern I've knit before. So I already have the pattern. I've already purchased it. And I already knit it, so I kind of know how it fits. I don't have that tank top anymore. I actually gave it to a friend. And it was at the very beginning of my knitting journey, so I was still pretty new to knitting, but the armholes were huge. That was the problem with it. I really liked it otherwise, but way too big armholes. And looking on Ravelry, I think that is the common feedback, is the armholes are large. So anyways, I already knew these things about the Ingrid top, already had the pattern, but I found a lot of inspiration with the stripes and the eyelets from the Nicola top. So I did some things. So first I have this, which I'll show you a close-up, but this was my first iteration. I was knitting this with a needle size that was meant for worsted weight, because the Ingrid top is with a worsted weight yarn. So that's what I was doing, and I didn't do that on purpose. I just sort of followed the pattern just to see what would happen, and quickly realized my gauge was quite large. Plus the eyelets were extra large, which I don't mind, a transparent kind of top, but I think this was too much, and I just don't think I'm gonna wear it. So, and I got some feedback from Instagram, and people were into it, but maybe also agreed that the gauge was large, was the consensus. I paused on this, and then I cast it on again, and I am much happier with this version. So this is what I have. I did some things to this. So I'm knitting with smaller needles. Let's see, I'm using 2.75 millimeter needles. I cast on for the XL size or something, for the amount of stitches. So I have a lot more stitches here than I do on my original sample, but it's giving me about the same width. I also changed the stitch pattern. On the original one, the eyelet stripes are a little bit more 3D because there's some purl rows. Whereas this one, I'm just doing stockinette with the eyelets, and so it lays more flat, and I do prefer that. And my stripes are essentially 5 rows per stripe. That includes an eyelet row, and I like how that looks. So it's kind of like a 10 stitch repeat currently, which is not too far off, if not the same as the Ingrid. I don't remember. So what is my plan here? I guess I'm kind of knitting the Ingrid top, but I've got a different gauge, I've got a different stitch pattern, and I know that I'm going to want to modify the armholes. Like, I've already started the armholes and it's much earlier than what the pattern says. Basically, trying to make a scrappy tank top. This is what I've got. Let me know what you think, if you have any suggestions for me, but I'm into this, I think. I don't want it to be too patriotic looking, so I am worried about that. Or also very much Where's Waldo. That I'm fine with. I can handle that. Anyways, let me know what you think. I just want to try doing a scrap busting project. All right, we are on to acquisitions. This beautiful Kremke yarn we already talked about. My friend Madeline gave me these toggle buttons. I have 2 more of these, so 6 toggle buttons in total. And I think they're so cool and unique. I think she got them at the thrift store. She is a prolific sewer and has a really great sewing Instagram. And then she's also on YouTube if you want to check out my friend. So anyways, she gifted these to me. And I really like that they're a dark brown. And that was perfect timing because Knit Picks actually reached out to me and wanted to gift me some yarn. Very exciting. They pretty much emailed around the same time that Madeline gifted these to me. So I was like, perfect. I have a direction to figure out what I want to make. I always try to have a project in mind if I'm going to get yarn, of course. After doing some research, I decided to do cardigan number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I did mess up a little bit with my math, but it's gonna be okay. Cardigan number 9, basically like a chunky boxy cardigan. It has saddle shoulders. I love the look of saddle shoulders. Her version has the toggle buttons, so I already can like visualize how it will look. So these are perfect. When I was looking on Ravelry, I was looking for like different types of Knit Picks yarn so I can see inspiration of what people have made with it. And that's how I came across this pattern. I saw that people were knitting it with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, which is a worsted weight yarn. This color is called Smoky Mountain, which I think is new, and I think it might be limited. This is my current favorite color. I'm obsessed with it. I got a sweater quantity, a cardigan quantity. I hope it's a cardigan quantity. We'll see. And I already knit up a swatch for cardigan number 9. Now this is where I realized I made a mistake, because cardigan number 9 is actually Aran weight. It is Aran plus lace. So this is my gauge swatch at the recommended needles. So 5mm needles is supposed to give you 16 stitches and 23 rows, and you get 4x4 inches or 10x10 centimeters. So I am a 1/2 inch off. Classic. So, you know, I'm probably just gonna do the thing where I size up. I do it almost every time. It mostly works out fine. The only thing is maybe I might need more yarn. We'll see. This feels really nice. The drape is super nice. It is a woolly yarn, but it feels great. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So that's my plan. I'm very thankful to have this gifted by Knit Picks. That was very kind of them and generous. I probably won't cast this on until the fall or end of summer. I'm super excited. I have everything I need to make it. Some other acquisitions, I guess other yarn acquisitions. We'll talk about this now. So I had to go to Michael's just to get some thread, and then I decided to look at the yarn, which I don't normally do because it's a lot of acrylic. I'm not a fan of that. I thought maybe they'd have cotton yarn, and they did. So I've never seen this before. This is Loops and Threads Classic Cotton Big Ball, 100% cotton. One ball is 400 grams, and that gives you 664 yards or 608 meters. That's crazy. I got the color Sand, and then I got the color iris. So this I picked up, as I said, to make another Clover tee for my mom. She wanted an off-white color. She doesn't want to risk the white like I'm gonna risk. I couldn't not pick this up. Oh yeah, these were like, I think these were $15. That is really good. To put into perspective, the yarn I got for this Clover tee cost, I think, $45 in total. So if I can make another tee for just $15 and one ball, that's crazy. Could be groundbreaking news here. I am obsessed with this color. It is very similar. It is very similar to this. I will say I like this color more because it's a little bit more periwinkle. This is like true purple, but I'm kind of into it. I'm very picky about purples. I'm okay with this one. So I don't have any specific plans for this. I just had to get it. I always try to have a project in mind if I'm gonna get yarn, of course. I think my number one plan that I'm not 100% committed to is to reknit my Vilma top. I had already planned to reknit it. It is in a very similar color. It's a color more like this, that is 100% cotton. It's just too cropped, and I do have some weird things happening with the neckline, and the button band is probably too tight, things like that. So I already planned to frog that and reknit it with the yarn I have, but I do think it might be nice to reknit it with new yarn so I can compare my progress as I'm knitting and make sure it's longer, and I think that'll be an easier way to work. And then when I'm done, I can frog the original Vilma, probably save it for next year when I want to knit something with cotton. That might be my plan. Let me know what you think. But yeah, this was just too good of a deal. I picked it up. I had to do it. Then I have a couple fabric acquisitions. So from Make and Mend, I got this fabric. It says it's 46 by 74 inches. It was $10. This definitely feels like a natural fiber. I just thought this was cool. I don't know what I'm gonna make with it yet, but picked that up. And then this is recently washed, which is why it looks crazy. I got this from Martin's, my favorite place in the world. If you've watched my videos before, you know how I feel about Martin's. Yeah, this is a linen, maybe a linen blend. I just thought it was really interesting because it's like a baby blue and brown woven together. So probably from far away, it kind of just looks like a charcoaly gray brown color, but up close you can kind of see blue peeking through, and I just thought it was really nice, and I think it'll look nice. I don't know what I'm gonna make with that yet. Next week I teach an animation course. I do that every summer, and it's a lot of fun, but takes a lot out of me. So I do not have the mental capacity to plan any new projects at the moment, but after I teach, so like end of July, beginning of August, I will probably come up with some new sewing ideas. Like I said, there's patterns I want to sew again from my previous vlog, and then there's some new patterns I've been eyeing as well. I have just been chatting and it stopped recording, so if the angle changed or anything changed, that's because I'm re-recording. I was just about to talk about thrift scores. These are all from the same Savers haul, and the first one is a little bit unhinged. I have had the same little jewelry box since I think maybe just after college. I bought it at West Elm, and it's like a brass and glass little box. It wasn't my style anymore, and it also felt too small. So I came up with this idea to thrift a cash box and use that as my jewelry box. I don't think this is gonna be for everyone, but I'm kind of really into it. So I found this tan cash box, has like a little lock in the front. I don't use the lock, but it's there. And it came with a key, so it does work. So yeah, I thrifted that, and then I went to Muji and bought a bunch of like the velvet jewelry inserts and kind of stacked them in there. That's my jewelry box now, and I'm really into it. Like, I kind of like mixing styles in my home, and I like having kind of a bit of an office vibe. Some pieces. I don't want my home to look like an office. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I think mixing materials is fun, and so having like a metal jewelry box, I'm into. And it's bigger, so, and the trays come out, so I can like grab a tray, figure out what I want to wear, and then put it back. Yeah, I think the box itself was like $5, and then the Muji inserts were probably like 25 to 30. So we'll say under $40 for this new jewelry box. I'm pleased with it. Another thing I got was a little trinket bowl. It's like a little silver 3-leg bowl, kind of chunky legs. It looks like a mid-century modern type of piece, and I'm using it as a catch-all by my entrance to put like keys. Then I also found some tops. So I keep seeing on Pinterest these like lace white cotton flowy tops. I keep seeing outfits styled with those type of tops, and that's exactly what I found. I love this top. It fits me really well. I tend to like things super oversized, but then maybe it gets too oversized. So I actually think this is quite flattering. I'm really excited to wear it. It's 100% cotton. Then I found this, it looked like it was brand new from the Gap, this denim tank top. Kind of has like a boat neck type of cut, and then there's these really cute buttons along the back, and I really like the wash of the denim too, and it's exactly my size, fits great, couldn't ask for more, so had to get that. Then this one was a little bit wild. This is, I'm pretty sure this is actually vintage, and it was more expensive than I prefer. I think it was like $11 to $12, but I couldn't let it go. And this is 100% cotton. I believe it's vintage. The brand is Bobby Brooks. It's a short sleeve button down with gingham fabric, and then the collar is denim, and then there's embroidery details on the front with like a nautical vibe. So we've got a lighthouse, sailboat, little flags and stars, and it's just fun. It's fun and cute. So I envision myself wearing this with a tank top and shorts, or as like a cover up at the beach or pool, maybe more pool vibe. Well, I guess it's nautical, so maybe I should be by the beach. I also am potentially going to hem it, but the hem line is curved, so that is a little intimidating to me to get that correct. Okay, we're gonna do a rapid fire for books. Again, I've already recorded this, so I'm feeling a little frazzled. Bear with me. So yeah, I'm basically gonna share a run-on sentence about each book I've read, and I've got quite a few since the last time we've talked. And also, if you wanna chat more about these books in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Maybe you agree or disagree with my hot takes. And then also maybe if you have any recommendations of what I should read next, I would love to know. The first book is Margot's Got Money Troubles. I loved this book. There's a lot of weird but very heartwarming characters. Highly recommend, really enjoyed it. And there is a show. I watched the first episode and it was good, but not good enough for me to pay for whatever streaming platform it is. But let me know if you watched the show and you think I should watch it, because I could be convinced. Then I read Yesteryear. Basically, I just wanted to be like everyone else and read this book right now. And I just wanted to be in on it. And I did enjoy it. It's an interesting premise. Basically, child wife influencer gets sent back to the 1800s. I wouldn't say I loved it. It wasn't like a knockout hit. Then I read Once There Were Wolves. This was not as good as Wild Dark Shore, which is also written by the same author. Wild Dark Shore was a 5-star read for me. It was fantastic and made me cry, which I was not expecting. This one, I feel pretty neutral about it. It doesn't stand out to me, so there are other books by this author that I am interested in reading, though. It hasn't put me off from this author. Then I read The Ending Writes Itself. Did not like. Really did not like this book, which is upsetting. So this is a thriller, or like a whodunit type book. I did not care about a single one of these characters. Couldn't care less. And there's quite a few characters, so you got to keep track of them all. You know, it's whodunit, so there's murders, and I didn't care about any of the characters that were murdered. So this is written, it says by Evelyn Clark. That's like a author name for the two actual authors. So it's Kat Clark and V.E. Schwab are the actual authors under that other name. So that's why I read this book, because I really like V.E. Schwab. She's one of my favorite authors, but really hated this book, actually. I don't know if I missed something, but it was not for me. Then I read Lost Lambs. Loved this book. 5 stars. It was so hilarious. Like the author's voice is really good, and the characters are just all weird and so funny. Oh my God. And it kind of covers heavier topics, but in a lighthearted way. I don't know, there's still gravity to the situation. But anyways, really like how this was written. It felt like reading a Wes Anderson movie or watching a Wes Anderson movie, whatever. And I think this is the first book by this author, so I'm really excited to see what else she writes. Then I read The Bog Queen, just okay, not that notable. I also read The Bog Wife, very similar titles, both involve bogs. I don't know, I really just want to read a book about a bog and be enthralled, and it has yet to happen. Then I read Mad Mabel, really enjoyed this, and it's an Australian book. It's set in Melbourne, Australia, which I have lived there for a year, and it holds a very special place in my heart, so that's probably also why I liked this book. It was fun, really good characters. I wasn't sure if I should believe the narrator for most of the book. It was really fantastic. And then I am currently reading Just Watch Me, and I'm really enjoying this. It's very weird, and the main character is not likable, but I do like it. So I'm 3/4 of the way through. I am worried I'm gonna get very sad at the end. I don't know, but there's potential. There's potential. I am invested enough where that could happen. So, and that's a good thing. I really do like the cover. That's also why I picked this up. I got this at a little free library. Whoever read this before me annotated it. So that's been kind of fun to read this and see that person's thoughts that I don't know. And they annotated a lot. So I'm enjoying this. Well, that was a lot. I've got a lot of editing to do now. It got a little stressful there with the recording. I had to record things twice, so that's never good because I never have the same energy the second time around, but it's okay. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.